Who would have thought that the most boring result in football, the draw, could actually be one of the most interesting baits? Most bettors avoid it because they see it as risky, unpredictable, even frustrating. However, when we look at the numbers, we discover that the draw is much more common than it seems, and that it can hide value that bookmakers don't always reflect in their odds. Today, we'll dive into this topic with data, probability, historical examples, strategies, and also the psychological biases that make draws so underrated. 1. How often do draws happen in football? The first question is, how often do teams really draw? On average, between 25% and 30% of professional league matches end in a draw. Recent examples: Premier League, around 25%, Serie A, Italy, closer to 28%. Liga N ex Mexico sometimes reaches 29%. In a tournament like La Liga in Spain with 380 matches, this means over 100 games ending in draws per season. Translated into odds, a 25% draw equals fair odds of 4.00, a 28% draw equals fair odds of 3.57. This shows us something clear: a draw is not a rare accident, it's a frequent and predictable result in the right contexts. 2. How bookmakers calculate the odds. Bookmakers convert probabilities into odds, but they always add their margin. Basic formula: implied probability equals 1 on decimal odds. Example: odds of 3.20 equals 31.25% imply. If the real probability of a draw is 28%, the fair odds should be 3.57, but the bookmaker might offer 3.30 to keep their edge. Here lies the key: compare your estimated probability with the implied probability of the odds. 3. Historical examples of value. In draws: World Cup 2010, Uruguay drew 4 matches in a row. Anyone betting on those draws earned massive profits with odds between 3.2 and 3.6. Euro tournaments, group stages often show multiple 1-to-1 results because teams prioritize not losing. Italy, in the 1990s, defensive tactics pushed draw rates close to 35%. These examples prove that in certain tournaments or playing styles, draws can be more likely than outright wins. 4. Psychology and biases against the draw. Why do most people avoid betting on the draw? Action bias: we prefer betting on a winner because it feels like we're supporting someone. Perception of boredom: culturally, draws are seen as dull or lacking excitement. Availability bias: we remember thrilling wins and forget the 0-0 or 1-to-1 games. Bookmakers know this. Since fewer people bet on draws, they sometimes offer higher odds to attract bettors, creating hidden value. 5. Strategies for betting on draws. There are different approaches. Draw system: focus on teams with strong defenses and weak attacks. They draw more often than average. Big match hypothesis: derbies and decisive matches often end in draws, as both teams avoid risks. Example: Barcelona versus Real Madrid historically has over 25% draws. Mathematical method: if you estimate draw probability 30%, fair odds is equal to 3.33. If the bookmaker offers 3.80 implied 26.3%, you have positive value. Flat stake: always bet the same amount on draws to avoid volatility. William method: IFR: when the difference in strength between teams is minimal, the draw gains weight. 6. The math of expected value. Expected value E is what separates professionals from casual bettors. Formula: EV equals estimated probability multiplied for odds less1. Example: probability 30%, odds 3.80. EV equals 0.30 multiplied for 3.8 less 1 is equal to plus 0.1. for this is 14% positive. This means that in the long run, betting under these conditions would yield profitability. 7. Risks and bankroll management. Nothing is guaranteed. Draws are less frequent than wins, so you can face long losing streaks. Low stake: maximum to 25% of your bankroll on each draw bet. Avoid aggressive progressions like the martingale. Think long term. Value shows after many baits, not just one. 8. Conclusion: the draw is the most underrated result in football. It's not boring, it's a statistical opportunity that few bettors use. Those who understand its frequency, compare it with the odds, and apply discipline can find real value where others only see a dull scoreboard. So next time you watch a balanced match, Instead of thinking how boring if it ends 0-0, remember, that might be the best opportunity of the day. If you want to learn more about smart betting and financial strategies, subscribe, hit like, and click the bell.